She was 30 years old. She had never missed a payment in her life. And she was still losing. That is the part no one talks about. You can do everything right on the surface. Responsible. Punctual. Put together. You can look like the version of success other people are still working toward. And underneath all of it, quietly, without a single dramatic warning sign, everything can be falling apart. This is Claire's story. And the uncomfortable thing about it is how normal it looks. She had a good job. A real salary. A nice apartment. A car that was only 3 years old. Every morning she carried a coffee to her desk, the kind with a logo on the cup. Her nails were done. Her clothes were right for the season. When she walked into the office, people noticed. Not because she was loud. Because she looked like someone who had figured it out. She had not figured it out. She had 4 credit cards, 3 of which she had not paid in full in over 2 years. She had an emergency fund that would barely survive one bad month. She had a number sitting at the bottom of her banking apps that she had trained herself, very deliberately, never to look at. She paid the minimums. Always on time. And then she moved on. She had been doing this for years. Claire grew up in a house where money was always close to the surface. Not desperate. Just tight. The kind of tight you feel in how your parents talk after dinner, in the silences that follow certain questions. She learned early that looking okay mattered. That appearances had a kind of power. That if you seemed fine, people treated you like you were fine. She never decided to carry that lesson into adulthood. It just came with her. Her first real salary felt like freedom. She bought herself things. Not dramatic things. A better bag. A jacket that fit. Skincare she had always walked past. Small upgrades. Reasonable ones. She had worked for this. She deserved it. But she never stopped upgrading. Every raise became a new floor. A better apartment. A leased car because the old one felt unreliable. A nicer gym because the old one no longer matched how she saw herself. Each decision had a reason. Each reason was logical. And together they quietly built a life that cost more than she made. Not dramatically more. Sometimes just a few $100s more each month. But every month, the gap was there. And every month, the cards absorbed it. And every month, the balances grew a little more. Quietly. Patiently. The way a slow leak works before you notice the floor is wet. She did not look at the totals. She looked at the minimums. She paid the minimums. She had a spreadsheet for her monthly expenses. She just never looked at the bottom line. The subscriptions came out automatically. 3 streaming services. A music app. A meditation app she had opened maybe 5 times. She knew they were there. She just never got around to reviewing them, because reviewing them meant sitting with a number she had decided, in a very practical and deliberate way, not to sit with. She told herself she would deal with it properly after the holidays. Then after a big project at work. Then in the new year. The new year came. The balances grew. Here is the quiet part of the trap. It was not ignorance. Claire knew the number was not good. She just did not know exactly how bad it was. And as long as she did not know exactly, she could keep going. Keep performing. Keep being the woman in the office who had clearly figured something out. She had a colleague named Dana. Dana brought lunch from home. Dana wore the same coat 2 winters in a row. Dana drove a 10-year-old car with rust along one door panel. Claire liked Dana. She also felt, when she looked at Dana, something she would have called sympathy if she had ever examined it honestly. She never examined it. Because if she had, she would have recognized it for what it was. Not sympathy. Fear. She was afraid of looking like Dana. Not because Dana was struggling. Dana was not struggling. Dana was, as Claire would eventually and painfully come to understand, in a far more stable position than she had ever been. But Dana looked like someone who had settled. And Claire had spent her entire adult life making sure she never looked like that. On her phone, the life looked intentional. Beautiful, even. The coffee. The outfit. The weekend dinner. The trip she had taken using card points, photographed without any mention of the balance the card still carried. People she had not spoken to in years sent her messages saying she seemed to be doing so well. She told them yes, things were good. She said it warmly. She almost believed it. Then she turned 30. And the pressure that had always been manageable began to shift. Her landlord raised the rent. Not outrageously. Just enough to hurt. She signed without negotiating. That month she put more on the cards than usual. The month after, the same. Then a dental issue. A crown. The kind of expense an emergency fund exists for. Her fund did not cover it. She put it on a card and told herself she would pay it down quickly. She paid the minimum. A few weeks later, a friend's birthday dinner. The kind of restaurant where entrees were $60 and the table agreed in advance to split evenly. She handed over her card without looking at the total. She laughed at the right moments. She was warm and present and fun. She was exactly who she needed to be. She sat in the parking garage afterward for a long time. Not crying. Just sitting in the quiet after the performance. Something pressing against her chest. Not panic. Just wait. The kind of wait that has been there long enough to start feeling like it belongs. The morning it finally broke through was a Sunday in March. She was still in her pajamas, which was unusual. Getting dressed early was part of the system. But that morning she sat at the kitchen table with her coffee and her laptop and she let herself do the thing she had been avoiding for years. She opened every card. Wrote every balance down on paper, by hand. Not a spreadsheet. Paper. The act of writing made the numbers physical in a way a screen never had. Then she added them up. She sat with the number for a long time without making a sound. This was what the whole thing was built on. Underneath the apartment and the clothes and the gym and the dinners and every carefully curated image she had ever posted. This number. Sitting there. Patient. Unmoving. It was not catastrophic in the way a crisis headline looks. It was the quieter kind of terrible. Given her income, given the interest accumulating every month, it would take years to clear. Not months. Years. If she stopped adding to it right now. Which she had not done in a very long time. She thought about Dana's car with the rust on the door. She did not feel superior anymore. She closed the laptop. She sat in the silence of her nice apartment and understood, clearly and without drama, that she had been renting this version of herself the entire time. Not owning it. Renting it. And the rent had been compounding. She canceled 2 subscriptions before noon. Called the gym about a cheaper plan. Made lunch at home and ate it at the same table where she had just seen the number. The world did not end. She told one person. A colleague she trusted. She said the number out loud for the first time. The colleague was quiet for a moment and then said, gently, that she had sometimes wondered how Claire managed it all on their salary. Not cruel. Just honest. Claire laughed. Not the performance laugh. The real one. The kind that surfaces when something true has finally been allowed to be true. What Claire's story shows is something most conversations about money avoid. The most dangerous financial situation is not the one that looks like a crisis. It is the one that looks like success. It is the gap between the image and the reality, held open so long and so carefully that the person holding it begins to forget which side is real. Debt does not always announce itself. Sometimes it arrives in the quiet math of a life built just slightly beyond what you can afford. Sometimes it arrives in the habit of never looking at the total. Sometimes it lives inside the fear of being seen the way you were always afraid of being seen. And it grows in the silence. In the discipline of not looking. In the performance of a life that costs more than it should. The scariest part of Claire's story is not the debt. It is how long everything looked completely fine. Build the real thing. Without the audience. Make sure it can hold you when no one is watching. Because the only version of your life that actually matters is the one that exists when you close every app, sit down with a piece of paper, and write the number out by hand. That number does not care how good everything looked. It never did.